So guys, we're streaming again.
Oh, baby.
Oh, hey!
Oh, I didn't know if we were streaming again.
Thanks for the warning, Captain.
Yeah.
Sorry, just trying to get it back live as soon as I could. Off Google Chrome, it
Are we
crashed.
live?
We should be live because I can see it's live.
Good Lord. Let's see. Hold on. Let me load up the.
It looks like it's live because I can smiley face. Anyway.
Ew.
So.
All right, there we go. We are alive.
What were we
Sweet, I'd
talking
love to see
about?
it.
We were talking about Square
be
Enix.
sure
We were
to
talking about
double-check your,
Final Fantasy 13 and the fact that it stabbed me in the heart.
Hold on. Let's double check everything.
I was gonna say double check your bit rate. Make sure your bit rate's a little bit higher.
Yes.
To reduce the stream lag.
Couldn't tell you how to do that.
Yep.
No way I know how to do that.
Double
You guys
check
have
your
to tell
frame.
me.
You might have to go through. You might have to go through first. You might have to go through OBS, and if you don't see the OBS, you might have to go through Twitch, and then your settings increase your bit rate up to like 6,000, or wherever's proper for you.
Yeah, you have to fuck around with it. Honestly, you have to do a couple test streams and whatnot. But that's something we can troubleshoot shot the day.
What? You guys tell
Like I said,
me.
you're gonna do troubleshooting streams are 100%. No, you're good. Troubleshooting streams are 100% the thing that happens. That's fine. We'll take care of it.
Yeah, we'll take care of that.
Well, hopefully,
I'll tell you
stream number 2 will be
Yeah,
better
it
than
is
stream number
jumpy.
1.
It's kind of losing on
Right.
Okay, the audio's coming through fine, but it's just like the
video's
video is
going
just
lag as crap.
which is definitely a buffering problem.
It's the bit rate and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You can adjust that on a later date. But yeah, it's always fun to say, yeah, it'll get better every single stream. It'll always get better. There'll be some regression. I promise you. There's no such thing as a perfect stream without some technical issues.
Oh,
No such
baby.
thing. God help us. And then, God forbid, you stream for more than a few hours at a time. Then you have to compensate for the bitrate changing because obviously you're pushing a lot of data at that point, and that's stored data. You have to restart the stream sometimes just to reduce the lag. It's fun.
So fun.
Fun.
So fun.
So, have we lost Javi, Mr. J. Mello?
Yeah, that man's not coming back, but it's okay because he's with us in spirit, and that's all that matters. And probably also.
Why didn't he just go in the chat? Then he can hear us say words, and we can say words at him.
Yeah, he was typing in the chat. He was
Good.
typing in there.
Good, you'd love to see it. Oh yeah, Moya, you missed it. I got a block.
You got a block.
I got a block.
Now,
It does.
that block is not going to do
Yeah,
anything to
It's
help me against my rage against
It's
you
not.
and dishonoring Final Fantasy 13. So, we got at it, sir.
Hey, don't bring that back up.
so.
Last
Let's
time you
start.
talked about your rage,
Let's
I'll tell you
start
straight.
with Final Fantasy 13 and everything that it tried to be and everything that it failed to be.
Wait, let me get some popcorn.
Final Fantasy 13 wanted to be a great game. It really did. It really, truly did. I waited out day one, middle of the night, got that thing right at the midnight release. I came home, blew my fucking eyes out of my socket when I loaded up that giant white screen and a dark background. I had so much anticipation and fun. And mind you, I went out and got this game on a whim. There was a buddy who called me up and was like, hey, they're doing a midnight release for this. Do you want to come get a copy? And I was like, fuck it. So I went and I got a copy of Final Fantasy 13. I hadn't played more than one or two Final Fantasy game at that point, so I was kind of still in my introductory phase of Final Fantasy. What I was not prepared for was the hallway simulator that was Final Fantasy 13's first incarnation.
Ooh.
Was it story great and all over the place? Absolutely. As much as any convoluted Final Fantasy before and after it for that reason. Was the narrative great? Yeah, I had no quarrels with it. But the game itself was a hallway. And at the end of that hallway
Okay.
was a multi-phase boss that would destroy you if you were not overpowered by that point, and you would start back at the beginning. And that is a solid 45-minute fight, going from all the phases.
Now, I can tell that at that point you have not
No
played
breaks.
any other Final Fantasy game because literally every other Final Fantasy game is that.
Tell that to X2. Tell that to 10.
That's a Final Fantasy 4.
Like, literally.
Dude, Final
Literally,
Fantasy
10-2
4
is
is
the first Final
especially
Fantasy.
nothing but a bunch of dungeons.
Okay,
No, but it's
then
not.
I'm
There's
about
a difference.
45
There's a
minutes.
difference between a dungeon and a hallway, sir. Final Fantasy
Mhm.
13 is a hallway
Mhm.
with one open area. It is otherwise a hallway. You go from start to finish. That's it. There's no extra little dungeons to crawl through. There's no little fun stuff. Even the Adamantoise that they put in that damn thing is just crawling around in two different places, and that is the only two places you get to fight it because there is no other dungeons to actually go into.
I'm
And I will
just
die on that
saying,
note.
I play Final Fantasy for the narratives, and it had an amazing narrative. And the combat system was phenomenal. The
Yes,
upgrade
it did.
system,
Very much so. And that
awesome.
point.
The
combat
maps,
system was totally
they looked beautiful. I have no complaints about Final Fantasy 13. It's all right, Tyler. I understand that you have bad taste. It's okay.
Then you are blinded, sir.
You have bad taste. It's okay.
It's all right. I am a man of pride and beautiful tastes. My palate is as refined as the day I
don't understand
I
how
don't know.
a
Let's not
man
go too
so
far.
jaded could have such bad tastes and still be jaded about it.
am not jaded, sir. I am refined. I know what my popcorn tastes like, and it is beautiful and buttery.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is I still have to play 13 too. I actually have it on my Steam. I gotta
I
get
have
around to it because I
13.2
wanted to see
and
that interlude story.
13.3, and I haven't gotten around to it.
You mean Lightning
Ooh,
Returns?
but we know
Yeah.
why.
Wait. So this man says he has no quarrels with 13 in the slightest, and yet has only played a third of its incarnation.
Correct.
Welcome to my world.
I played the one that counts.
That is an odd soapbox to stand on. So
I played the one that counts.
He's standing on 1/3 of a soapbox.
one
What are you
count.
talking about?
What do you mean the one that counts? The story opens up so much afterwards and goes to such hell by the time you get into Lightning Returns that literally Hope is guiding you and saying, "You must go here, Lightning. You're on a day and night cycle system like you're in fucking Pikmin."
Like I said,
Literally like a
Final
20-minute
Fantasy
cycle.
13 is a game.
No, it's not. It's got
All right.
such great ideas and never
All right,
fucking
all right, all right,
executes
all right.
them because it's building up to what 13 was. And Lightning Return
All right,
was.
let's see
And
what I got
Lightning
on my
Return
notes.
was such a piece of shit, but Lightning Return character. 13 too, though. However, I hear nothing but great things about.
That's
kind of
cool.
when I want to play it.
Anyway, how about we'll move on to another
This-
topic? We'll go with Ubisoft now. What do you guys expect from Ubisoft? They showed a little bit of Giancarlo Esposito and talked a little bit about Far Cry 6 earlier during Summer Game Fest. Best, villains in movie history, I would have to say. And I think that's so amazing that they put him in there.
And we lost him, folks.
He's dead.
He did.
Final Fantasy
What?
13 to the end of his days.
I'm
Yeah,
not
that's
dead.
it. That's what happens. He's
Oh, he's there.
spoken
He's here.
into the
He's
world.
here.
I'm
There
here
he is.
still.
We found him. It's
I was never
His
gone.
mic is-
Final Fantasy 13.
His mic keeps fighting back at him, and so
Literally.
sometimes it sounds like he cuts off and dies, and sometimes it's just
Right.
like maybe he really does
Well,
die.
this
the
is what
reality
happens
is
when I have
Microsoft
such a
has its own
small
fucking
computer
taste
that I
in video
can't
games
really
and
do
music
anything
for it.
about.
Yeah, well,
I get this
that's-
man a
that's-
laptop,
that's why.
and
And
he
it's a
insults
beautiful
its
laptop.
size.
It just
It's
does
not about
not
the size
work
of
for
your
streaming
laptop.
like I thought it would.
It's not about the size of the laptop, sir.
Definitely
It's about how you use it.
it. I will say that. It's since this is your first
And
ever
when
go,
it's used
you're
for
gonna have to
writing,
work on the
it's
bit rate.
absolutely perfect. When it's used for streaming, it is not good.
When it's used for anything other than 60 kilobits a second, shit.
I can stream,
Well,
I can
let
watch
me
anime
start
on it,
off.
I can write. Anything other than that, it's dead.
Well, I will start off by tackling this Ubisoft.
Yeah,
topics particularly.
Go for it, because I got
And
very little on this.
It's gonna be let me tell you, it's gonna be short and concise. In two parts. Part one, Far Cry 6.
Yep.
Looks nice. Looking forward to it. Gonna buy it? No. If it ends up on Game Pass, it is what it is. Part two, what am I actually looking forward to? EA Play. Ubisoft actually adding towards the actual Game Pass library, which is something that has been rumored for a very long
It'd
time.
be a good idea. They should do it.
Possibly could happen. Still looking forward to it. It could happen during the E3 showcase in a few days. If it doesn't happen, as I said before, it is what it is. Far Cry 6 looked great. I'll watch it like a movie on YouTube. And that's about it. You can never go wrong with that. With I can't remember the actor's name. The man who played Gus
Giancarlo
in,
Esposito.
Yes, Mr. Esposito. I love his performances. It's something that's going to make me want to sit down and watch Far Cry 6,
Yep.
because he's just such a great actor. And that's as much as I can really give Ubisoft. Like, ever since I played Far Cry 5, and I will give them this, their combat systems are very well done. But in terms of how they lead their game, let me just put it this way. Like, Far Cry 5 had me invested in the first half, and then when you get to the ending, it really feels like they kick you in the nuts and say all your decisions didn't really matter. And it really just kind of threw me kind of
I
out the
mean,
window in terms of
that's how every one of
how
the
invested I
Assassin's
was.
Creed games are too. It's just I just think it's really hard to end things. That's all it is.
You
Yeah,
really had us in the first half.
yeah,
Moving
that
along.
is that game is the encompass of that entire meme, and it's like it kind of makes me look at Far Cry 6 and go, man, I'm really excited for the concept that they're going to be introducing into it. Is it going to make me buy it? If 5 had ended in a way where it actually respected your motives as a player, the way, and I don't want to use Near Automata as an example because Near is its own masterpiece in terms of how it does its ending.
Yoko Taro,
Yes.
man.
So, but there's a right way to do endings and there's a wrong way to do endings.
Okay,
There,
hold
and
on.
when
Can
I
we just
say
hold on for a second? I thought Moya was drinking out of a freaking Hershey's chocolate syrup bottle
don't
for a second
guys,
there, and I was very
don't you
concerned.
worry about that. He'll be
Oh
fine.
my god!
He
I
won't
saw him just
live.
go like, I saw him squeeze it, and I was like,
He
"What the
he won't
fuck
live
is
long, but
that?"
he'll be fine.
He'll live long, but he'll live good.
That being said,
Live fast, die hard.
now yes. That
There
being
you
said,
go.
like I said, there is a right way and a wrong way to do multiple endings. And a wrong way to do a multiple ending is where every ending looks like it is punishing your player. And when every ending is basically giving you a bad ending, that is that is not a good way to finish off a story because it makes you feel like you basically wasted your time and that you really didn't do anything to truly, impact the lives that you're trying to have a positive effect on. Which is why I look at Far Cry 6 and I go, okay, it looks like what they're setting up is similar in terms of Far Cry 5, where there's going to be an internal conflict, there's civil war, you're going to have your own impact on it, but it is to the point where the way 5 ended and had such a bad taste in my mouth that it's now like, okay, I'll definitely watch it from a distance, but am I going to invest myself into it? Not so much. And that's kind of where I kind of sit with Ubisoft in terms of like this big release, just because of how they kind of left things up for the last one. So, and then with New Dawn, oh, don't get me started. But that's, a story for another time. So,
Do we think we're gonna get
Ubisoft
an
games,
announcement for
hopefully come to Game
another
Pass.
Assassin's Creed, or do you think we're
Hopefully.
gonna get a bunch of DLC?
Well, I'll let
Assassin's Creed,
Travis
ever
out on
since
that
they
one.
developed the Unity engine that was built to build Unity from the ground up, which they've been working on for over 10 years, it is well enough that they will stick to their plan of trying to release one at least once a year. If they're smart, they'll focus on Valhalla and focus on the DLC aspect of it. Valhalla is a fantastically open world game. My biggest problem with Assassin's Creed is as a series as a whole, it has sort of lost its focus in terms of the story that is wanted to tell ever since Assassin's Creed killed off the main character. It has since then never found a proper footing for its proper narrative deliveries, and as a result has suffered on a storytelling line by relying so extensively on the actual animus illusion that it refuses to come back at any point from that.
You haven't played any of the
Um,
recent
and
games,
it's like
have you?
90% fetch quest.
Have you played Origins
I
Odyssey?
watched, well, no, I did play a bit of Odyssey and I got really bored really quickly. Like, really, really quickly. Because
Uh,
of how stagnantly they also decided to tack on the RPG elements in such a way that it is. Because all the people around you are constantly leveling up with you to that level, your levels are essentially nothing more than an arduous number system
mm,
that does nothing for you.
yep.
I would rather go back to the simplicity of Assassins 1 and 2 and just take the simple, if you're able to get behind a guy, you take him out, and just take a more Metal Gear Solid style approach to this.
Sure.
But instead, they chose to go the route they did, and I have no quarrels with that. That is their choice.
Well, that's
But
not the point that
as
I
far
was
as
getting at. The
Ubisoft as a
point I was
whole,
getting at is the fact that Origins introduced a new character for them to follow around, and they've pulled from the whole "you're a mindless, person in the animus" kind of a
mhm,
thing. And I'm thankful for that because I missed the present day
of course.
text, which is what they needed. That's what made the first 5 games, so good. Was the main character, and the fact that they brought her in. Played Valhalla yet, but I want to know how her story ends. And I think they're going to take another break after that because they took a Syndicate and Origins to kind of just realign with everything to make everything a lot better. And now that they've done that, I don't know whether or not they're going to end up taking another break for another year.
It was a relative failure compared to what they did. Maybe, maybe not. I don't see them necessarily doing that. They're making way too much money off the franchise as a whole to really abandon a project like that. But
I mean,
what
I
can
think
you
they're going to
By the
do
way, gentlemen, just
DLC
for
for
reference, I have a few minutes
Valhalla.
until I have to go. Yeah, no, I
I
know.
think they're going to do DLC.
But just a heads up, I do only